What's the big story that SIM2 is wrapped in for this year, and why should people be excited about it?
I think we built something that is building on a great tradition with Sim from last year, but adding more forgiveness, which is going to be appealing to a lot more golfers out there. You have this face that's fast in the titanium material with this new milled back to it. And then you have obviously this light material on the top, the carbon, light material on the sole. And then with this back ring that kind of gives us a nice, stable, durable base, but it's still a lighter material than titanium. We're creating, again, a fast platform, a lot of height, a lot of high launch, low spin, but with a ton of forgiveness.
And the interesting point about who it appeals for, I mean, you're talking about the #1 player in the world, Dustin Johnson, but somebody who's a 15, 16, 18, 20 handicap could benefit pretty comparably from the technology that you've installed in this SIM2 driver.
To me, that's the part I'm excited about, because ultimately for DJ and Rory and Tiger, these guys, I mean, they're hitting it in the center of the face every single time. So providing them with a ton more off-center performance, most of the time, it's not really doing a lot for them. Whereas the average golfer, more often than not, they're missing the center of the face. And those are the golfers that we can really move the needle for in terms of performance. I mean, that's, to me, the more exciting part. And there's a lot more of us than there are of those PGA Tour players.
100%.
So I think if we can make a measurable performance increase, again, for that 15, 20 handicap guy, that's what makes me really excited about these new drivers.
Somebody is looking for the SIM2 Max or the SIM2 Max D. What exactly are the benefits of both of those clubs?
If you move from SIM2 to SIM Max, you're going to see a little bit more spin in your drive, so it's going to go a little higher peak trajectory. But most importantly, it's going to be more forgiving. It's going to have a lot more inertia in terms of just that forgiveness and off-center hits. And that's really what the benefit of the Max is going to be. When you move to the Max D, now this is an interesting one, because typically when you get a draw bias driver that like the Max D is, you're kind of making a little bit of a compromise there, because what you have to do is take some of the weight that you're putting way back and putting some of that in the heel, right? So that's kind of the recipe for draw, if you will. But a lot of times a draw golfer or a golfer who needs the draw help is having to choose between more forgiveness and more draw bias. And the goal for this Max D product in the SIM2 is to move the entire inertia generator in the sole towards the heel, so that we can keep the weight back and have that high inertia, and at the same time get the draw bias. And that's really what's unique about this, and what's so different about the SIM2 Max D versus the original Sim Max D and draw drivers before that is, well, the ability to retain so much of that forgiveness in the club.